Love is heavy and light, bright and dark, hot and cold, sick and healthy, asleep and awake. It's everything except what it is. Said by William Shakespeare. Act number 1st, scene number 1st. Assalamu alaikum my dear listeners. Welcome to this channel Translation Studies by Tayyaba. The topic of this video is Introduction to William Shakespeare. As you people know that William Shakespeare is the most famous English writer. So let's start this video. First of all, I am going to talking about the biography of the William Shakespeare. William Shakespeare was born on 26th April 1564 and William Shakespeare died on 23rd April 1616. You know that William Shakespeare belongs to the England. England is the most famous country. The father name of Shakespeare was John Shakespeare. Listeners, William Shakespeare was the most famous playwright, poet, actor, dramatist, as well as storyteller. You know that William Shakespeare known as the national poet of England. Another title of the Shakespeare was Bard of Avon. You know that Bard of Avon is a quotation which means that the writings which stands for all the eras. So there I am talking about the writings of William Shakespeare. You know William Shakespeare wrote 39 plays as well as 154 sonnets. On the other hand, if we are talking about the poems or the narrative poems of Shakespeare, I wanted to clear this thing that Shakespeare wrote 3 long narrative poems as well as some other verses. Listeners, you know that the most prominent thing of the William Shakespeare's writings or the text is that the William Shakespeare's plays translated in many different languages in order to increase its readership. Listeners, William Shakespeare lived in Stratford-upon-Avon, Warwickshire. Listeners, Warwickshire is a country in the England. Listeners, at the age of 18, William Shakespeare married to Anne Hathaway. Anne Hathaway was his beloved wife. William Shakespeare had 3 children. The names of his children are as Susanna, Hamnet and Judith. Listeners, in the last years of his life, William Shakespeare lived in London. If we are talking about the most producing era of the Shakespeare writings was the 1589 to 1613. During this era, Shakespeare wrote most of the writings. Listeners, in the early times of the Shakespeare, he wrote different comedies and histories. In simple words, I wanted to talk to you this thing that William Shakespeare started his writings from the comedies and the histories. But in his later life, William Shakespeare also started to write tragedies until 1608. Some tragedies are as Hamlet, Romeo and Juliet, Othello, King Lear and Macbeth. But in the last phase of William Shakespeare, he wrote Tragicomedies. As I want to clear this thing that what is Tragicomedies. Listeners, Tragicomedies are also known as romances. These are the writings which contain the taste of comedies as well as tragic lives. Means that the tragic events are presented in a comedic ways. After the death of William Shakespeare in 1623, his 2 best friends, named as John Hemingway and Henry Condell, published first Folio. Now, you people are thinking that what is first Folio? First Folio is basically a collection of Shakespeare's works. All the works of the Shakespeare included in the first Folio. A poem was written on the first or the title page of the first folio was that this poem showing that these works are not of an age but for all the times but for all the eras. Listeners, if we talk about the centuries of the Shakespeare, then this thing is very prominent that Shakespeare belongs to the last part of the 16th century as well as the early 17th century. William Shakespeare belongs to Elizabethan era during the reign of Queen Elizabeth I. This era's duration is 1558 to 1603. So this is the shortest interview or the shortest introduction of the William Shakespeare. If you get any point from this effort or from this video, so please comment me and leave a sweet suggestion for my next video. Thank you so much and please subscribe my this channel Translation Studies. Allah Hafiz.